Alright, so let's get in here and talk about this head. The head is going to be a little bit tricky. First thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here and do a Dynamesh real quick with a polish. Just to kind of get rid of that hole that was happening in that sphere. So now I'm going to hide the tail. All I need to see right now is this. I don't need to see the hands. Just give make navigation a little bit easier. So the first thing we need to do is we need to establish general anatomy stuff. Things like where the jawline is. So I'm going to mask off this area. I'm going to come to my move. Just going to pull that out a little bit so I can see the jaw. If you look back at our concept, it has a very square kind of jaw. Comes down in the front pretty straight. I'm going to come to my move brush. Has a bit of a point here in the front. Let's go to our Damien Standard brush again. Has a little bit of this, like, kind of that shape for the mouth in general. Now we're going to be pretty aggressive with a clay buildup brush because we have these really highly raised nostrils. Kind of smooth that back a little bit. Let's carve in the eye, and then kind of get that really strong brow that it has. Now what we need is our cheekbones. Carve in a little bit on the eye again. This is where things start to get a little bit tricky. You need to look at it from all angles and kind of determine what's working and what's not. So let's take another look at our concept. Go to our 3/4 view. Got kind of this sharp kind of shape in the concept. Need to start thinking about how this connects. So get that neck in there. Shrink down. We need to have some kind of structure to the neck muscles. I think we're a little bit wide, so I'm just going to pull this in a little bit. If you look at the concept, we have a pretty big kind of horn going on right here. So let's just give him a horn. Just mask an area, pull it up. Go with our move brush, kind of adjust the shape a little bit. Once again, we're blocking right now. We're not worrying about getting everything perfect. We're worried about just having the main shapes in there. We need to get something for the eyes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to brush insert. We're going to insert some spheres. Kind of look at the eye size. Notice we don't have eyelids, so we need to remember that we're adding those, so we might need to make these a little bit bigger. Pull them forward a little bit. Now we're going to go and split. We're going to split masked to split off the head and the eyes from each other. This is a good point. We probably have all the pieces that we need for now. So we're going to come in here, we're going to name things. So we're going to name this our head. We're going to rename these our eyes. We're going to rename these our arms. Rename arms. Rename torso. tail, and we already have the hands named. Okay. So we're going to come to the back. We're going to see how this is blending with the triceps. We want it to kind of sweep into the triceps a little bit more. Kind of look at it from the side. We're going to rotate you a little bit, move you up a little bit. Going to adjust. My biggest area of concern at this point is just how it connects to the rest of the body. That's something that I don't have in the concept really, really well. So I'm trying to figure out, just trying to figure out how the anatomy of this creature would work. And I'm combining a bit of what I know about human anatomy, what I know about lizard anatomy, to just kind of get some kind of indication. What you don't see is my giant board of reference on my other screen, which I can't show because there's some copyrighted images in there. But mostly it's lizards and some general human anatomy. I have some neck anatomy on the side and some basic head anatomy on the side, just so I know what I'm kind of working with. Reference is really key for this kind of stuff. So coming in with our Damien Standard brush, and you'll notice that it's still really low res through here. Don't worry about that. We'll make it higher res later. And use our clay buildup, give them some sense of eye stiff, some eyelids. Kind of looking at the concept. We're going to move this line, smooth it out, move it back a little bit. Our concept has some teeth in there too. We'll worry about that later. Looks like he has a pretty sharp kind of shape in the jaw, so we're gonna get a little bit of that in there. Now what I need to decide is if he has an overbite or an underbite. Looks like he has a bit of an underbite in the front, so let's give him a little bit of mass. And I'm starting to get to the point where I don't have quite enough resolution in my model to really make the changes that I want to make. But before I do that, before I go and make it higher res, I just want to make sure that I've got a good sense of what's going on. Let's come back here. We have another horn kind of like right off the back of this piece. Might not have enough resolution to make it look alright, but let's try it. Good enough. Coming back to the front, I don't like how this brow looks. I think it's too kind of swooping in this way. Let's come back to our front view. You notice at this point everything I'm making is little tweaky things. I'm just kind of trying to understand a little bit better what I intended in my concept. I mean, it is my concept, so I can kind of play with it. It's not looking too bad. So let's get in here and start thinking about the rest of the body. Now we have a decent head block in, so let's worry about blocking in more of the rest of the body.